Good morning, and thank you for that introduction. As has been said, we're actually looking at the somewhat wider topic of how cyber technology affects personal safety, privacy, reputation, and in particular we're looking at this issue of cyberbullying. We're looking at the question whether the current law is enough, whether it's suitable, whether it needs minor adaptation, tweaking to make it fit current problems, or alternatively whether dedicated new law is required, or a bit of both. And already you've heard said by several people that the law is out of date and not fit for purpose and is quite crude, I think, in dealing with this particular issue. So it is quite a timely matter for the Law Reform Commission to be looking at. Just to fill you in, the Law Reform Commission is a statutory body which was set up in 1975 to keep the law under review and to conduct research with the view to its reform. And what it does, the Law Reform Commission has programmes of law reform where we identify suitable topics through consultation with the public. We research, we consult. That is an absolutely key element of what we do. And then we report ultimately and make recommendations to government. After that, we drop out of the process. We produce a report, which is effectively a book on the topic and with specific recommendations, which is published and available for everybody to see. In the recent past, as has been mentioned, we published what we call an issues paper, which is a consultation with the public. And you can find that on our website, the Law Reform Commission, and you can reply to specific questions we ask on the topic, mainly of cyberbullying, from within the paper. So we've made it very easy for you. And while the date of the consultation may appear to be over, if anybody has anything to say at any time before we report, we want to hear it. So it's not too late. And in relation to cyberbullying, we have done a lot of consultation. We've had a seminar, we've had this issues paper, and we've had good responses to that. But recently we took a step back and decided that we needed to do some further consultation, in particular with young people, because this is such a young person's issue. Maybe not only school children, slightly older young people, but it is an issue of our time, and it starts with young people. So we're about to have a further consultation with a group of young people, which will be mediated by the Department of Children and Youth Affairs for us, because the questions we ask are quite legal and set out in a sort of quite a complex manner. But what we need to know is what actually happens and what precisely is the problem that we're seeking to address. It's a matter, as has been already mentioned, that is underreported. So it is something that needs to be brought to public attention, the attention of all people affected by it. The online world which we live in is a new world. Young people may think it's been around forever, but in fact it is really a new world from the point of view of legislation and policy making. And we live in this computer age. And this computer age is not just a medium of communication, which it started out as, I suppose, but especially for young people, it's a real place that they live in, involving social media. And it's started out and is meant to be a free and open space, uncensored, where free speech is central, where people can be anonymous if they wish to be anonymous, and is often encouraged as one of the features. And yet, any online communication is permanently associated with the maker. And while it may appear to go away if it's deleted, it doesn't. One of the things that the Law Reform Commission does is to involve itself in comparative research. And this is a global problem. This isn't something that's just for Ireland. It's for everywhere, because the internet is the internet of the planet. And the laws, the problems that we're facing are faced by every country in the world and every jurisdiction, many of whom are grappling with exactly what we're doing. So we look at what other people are doing. And then there, of course, is the whole of Europe is dealing with it, and the United States is dealing with it itself, and there are judgments from the Court of Justice of the European Community that seem to be taking this whole area of the internet very seriously, and privacy at the same time. So what we need are laws that are clear and effective. And in the view of the Law Reform Commission, we need criminal laws which create criminal offences, some of which are already there, but also civil remedies, getting what our investigations to date have made it clear that what people often want is a quick takedown of what is on the internet. And this is difficult because it has international implications as well, because servers may be situated in, say, California or somewhere else and not necessarily in the jurisdiction. But it's one of the things that we need to look at. So we need a thorough understanding of the issues. And what we have at the moment is quite a piecemeal response with legislation, old legislation, that has to a large extent not been specifically adapted to the internet and cyber technology. The key to good legislation that works is a very good understanding of what the problem is. So the key is the fundamental policy making. Legislation has been described as crude, but it's very difficult to reduce subtle concepts and the whole gamut of human behaviour to words. So that is why a real clear understanding of what is required and what young people want is essential. As Brian has told us, we already have laws. We have, excuse me, we have this offence of harassment, which is behaviour that may be in itself legal, say following somebody once or texting once, but which may become illegal if it persists when there's an intention to do harm and harm is actually done to a victim. We have laws about menacing phone calls and texts, which perhaps should be extended, which may well be extended indeed. We have hacking laws, data protection, which in fact is a European, worldwide regime which has great potential for addressing personal information that is put up on the internet. We have a constitutional right to privacy, defamation, civil remedies of injunctions and damages, and again, data protection on the civil side. What the Law Reform Commission is looking at fundamentally then is whether there should be new criminal offences and whether there should be new civil remedies. So, for instance, in New Zealand, they have established a special body to mediate what remains or what should be taken down. In the United Kingdom, they have introduced a revenge porn criminal offence. So where intimate images are put up this which cause harm, this will be a criminal offence. There are aspects of the internet that are not taken into account. So, for instance, the harassment offence requires a one-to-one exchange between people. So if I send a text to you and send a series of texts to you that are abusive and cause harm, that may amount to the offence of criminal harassment. But if I post these about you, but not directly to you, say I put them up on Facebook or on the internet, on YouTube, without directing them to you, that may not be caught. So this is one of the issues that needs to be looked at. So indirect harassment isn't necessarily caught. And another issue that we're looking at is whether there should be an offence of posting something that you know to be harmful once. So, as I said, harassment requires persistent activity. But if you post something once, that is then reposted and sent on to many, many people, should the original posting, if you know that it's going to be harmful, if there's no public interest in it, if it's likely to damage and does cause harm, should that be a criminal offence? Now, there are varying views about these. These are actually very difficult issues to address. As people have said, you have unintended consequences from if when laws are made. Sometimes if real thought and very close examination of the topic is not undertaken. So it is really important that we hear views from anybody who has views on these issues, how the law should be updated to deal with this new technology, this new life we live in, to make it safe and acceptable for people of all ages, but in particular young people. Thank you very much.